This is my little friend, green beauty stone. I seldom see a green stone that I don't admire. And I have quite a few of them kicking around waiting to be carved. Green takes a wonderful polish. You can see on these lips. It's quite a thrilling thing to work for 2 years and then bring what you've accomplished into a public space and make it available for acclaim or derision, and also to assess your own direction as an artist. Some are unfinished and need more work. I carve stones primarily, although I began as a wood carver years ago. This show is comprised of 3 different things. There are stones that are carved and tumbled, polished, occasionally tinted. There are tree figures that are cast into bronze. In this show, I don't have any natural wood. Every tree figure in the show has been converted into bronze. I have a studio in Vermont with a foundry, and in the summer, in the last 6 or 8 years, I've experimented with burning trees out directly as if there were a category of lost wood casting as opposed to lost wax casting. And the third body of work here, which is 2 sculptures, are wood carvings, direct wood carvings in cherry wood. And that's something that I did 20 years ago, more than I do now, but I've turned to that during my Thursday wood carving classes at my studio in Upham's Corner in Dorchester. People often ask where I get the stone, and the answer is everywhere, because stone is everywhere. At least in New England, where the glaciers swept through during the last 100,000 years. We have stones from all over the world, and I go to the beaches primarily because they're clean and you can see what you're getting. In Vermont, I collect a lot of stones for their shape, but when you begin carving, you realize the patina that nature's put on them has prevented you from seeing exactly what you're getting. So it's best to get them where you can see the color. Not that color is as important as shape, but it's a part of the quality of the stone that's also a pleasure. This was an unusual stone that I spotted in my stone pile in Vermont this summer, this gray prow of this stone. And I went over and I picked it up and I began looking at it and so on, and I noticed that the bottom was flat, which surely was something that I did years ago. And I took it, I wonder why I did that, and I turned it upright like this, and lo and behold, I found a face that I had abandoned years ago. So this summer I carved this face and improved this face, put it in the tumbler, and now it's called Two-Faced Stone. The big stones that I carve on commissions, of course, I can't move myself, and that has to be engineered. So that involves, backhoes and trucks and cranes and machinery, which is nice because actually that's easier than picking up a 100-pound stone and trudging up the beach as I used to do. But I usually don't go to the effort of moving a stone unless I see something in it that already excites me. And quite often I'll carry a can of spray paint or a crayon where I can make 2 dots and a mouth. And that is the reminder back in the studio of where the head was when I saw the stone. And shape is the primary thing. It has to be an entire head. It has to have a prow the way the human face is. And it has to have some sort of quality of rectitude or stubbornness, which stones have. You know, they've been beaten and pushed and hurled out of volcanoes and, you know, sucked into glaciers and frozen, and they've been through a lot, and they've broken up, and they've formed this form that gives them a kind of purpose, a feeling of purpose. And that's the feeling I like to see, the sort of sense of character of the stone. And that's what impels the carving. This is a portrait of the Argentinian short story writer Jorge Borges, who my daughter Tess became very interested in and went to live in Buenos Aires and walked a little bit in his footsteps and read him and wrote about him and got me going on him again. A blind man, he worked as a librarian while he wrote these magnificent stories. So I've tried to make a blind but wide open mind in this pink stone. He was a very pockmarked man himself, not a handsome man, lived with his mother. But what an internal life he had, and I hope this stone shows it. My friend, Jorge Borges.